it's time to honor the Vinalia Rustica. So this iteration of our annual Aphrodite Summit was titled the Vinalia Rustica Symposium because we had originally scheduled it for the weekend of the Vinalia Rustica holiday in 2023. The Vinalia Rustica is a Roman celebration that honors Venus's oldest temple, which was established by her son Aeneas, the founder, the founder of Rome. So Aeneas is one of the ancestors of Remus and Romulus, and a son of Aphrodite. The traditional date provided for this festival is either August 18th or August 19th. You'll see different sources saying different slight minor variations on that date. And this festival is actually dedicated to Dionysus or Bacchus, as one of the celebrations of wine and the life stages of the vine. The name Vinalia Rustica means country wine festival, which sounds like a good time to me. So we're coming together for this specific celebration of this ritual, this Vinalia Rustica, asynchronously, meaning that we're all viewing and experiencing and celebrating this ritual at different times. It may be early January for you, or it might be mid-March, or very auspiciously, you may be watching this video in mid-August, which is the traditional timing for the Vinalia Rustica. So wherever and whenever you are right now is great. So Carinus or Serenus in Cyprus was said to be the Greek who established Aphrodite's first temple in Hellas or in Greece, though no corresponding date is necessarily mentioned. So unlike in the Roman calendar where the date is really specific, August 18th, August 19th, we don't have a similar date for the Greek celebration, which makes sense as well in some capacities because the Greek calendar was so different. It was a lunisolar calendar, and it had like intercalendary months, and it was just very different than our calendar is. And really, the truth is that we all establish our own shrines, our own altars, our own temples when the timing is right for us, which is one reason that I'm very open to the idea of this particular celebration being a moving festival, meaning that the calendar date isn't necessarily fixed. Your Vinalia Rustica may be on a date that it's totally idiosyncratic, applying only to you and your practice. For me, the Vinalia Rustica celebration usually happens in August, and it holds a really special place in my heart. The first public Aphrodite shrine that I attended was at a place in southern Indiana called Our Haven Nature Sanctuary. My then wife and one of her best friends had established the shrine on a Friday and had oriented that shrine to the rising of the evening star, which is traditionally associated with Aphrodite, and its name is Venus. In the years that followed, though, nobody was really tending that shrine. And when I came on the scene, when I met my then wife, the shrine was really overgrown and unused. It felt unloved and uncared for by me. Not by me, to me. It felt very neglected to me. And it was important to me to change that. So my wife and I went to that space for a weekend retreat, just the two of us. And I worked day and night for the entire weekend to reclaim the space for my beloved Aphrodite. And it actually didn't occur to me until I was already there and doing the work that I was there at the timing of the Vinalia Rustica. So it was like she called to me right at that time and said, take care of my shrine, take care of my temple. The picture that's here on this screen actually was taken at the end of my work on Friday. So after sunset, and it was largely impossible by then for me to continue for the day because I just couldn't see. I couldn't create enough light for myself to keep working. But you can see a few things in this picture. The Venus de Medici statue that I had chosen to be the new temple icon. She got brought out that weekend. She had not been there before. The climbing roses that were donated to the Aphrodite temple by a patron online. And you can see in the very background there's a trellis that was also paid for by donations to the temple. And I had put it together and then set it back while I was working on this space. And yes, that is me. That's there, draped in scarves and sporting blonde hair. I was going through a blonde phase at that time. So I'm wearing scarves with fringe and work gloves to keep myself from getting too prickled by, there was actually a lot of datura or thorn apple that was growing in that area that had been placed there by a chaos magician who didn't know what the space was, and just thought that would be fun for people. But it was not necessarily appropriate to have thorn apple growing right there where people would unknowingly get pricked by the thorn. So I was working with that and trying to keep myself from getting inebriated or otherwise messed up by the thorn apple. Okay, so most years for me, this is kind of what the Vinalia Rustica looks like. It's a very working festival for me. So here you can see a lot more has been cleared out and we're getting closer to the shrine being set up. You can also see the jug of water that I kept refilling to keep myself hydrated because it was so hot. Indiana in mid-August is it's a very hot place. So sweating and singing and doing the hard work of tending the space is often how the Vinalia Rustica looks in my personal practice. You can actually see here in this photo, and this was all in 2010, that I had a set of post hole diggers because I was going to need to get that trellis embedded into the ground. So I had brought out some Quikrete and that kind of thing. But you can see I was using the post hole diggers and an umbrella that I kept in my car as a parasol to give me a little spot of shade. And I would just move that around so that I had some shade to work under. So as you consider where and how you're going to tend your own shrine or altar for Aphrodite, I invite you to join me on a guided journey that will serve as our ritual celebration of the Vinalia Rustica. And as we share this experience together, I invite you to close your eyes if that is your preference. Alternately, if you don't wish to close your eyes, you may watch the shrine pictures that I share here on the screen while your mind and spirit walk the journey's path. As a note, the pictures are not necessarily connected to the images of this journey. These are just pictures of me typically at Vinalia Rustica time, tending to the temple and the shrine. So if you wish to, now is the time to close your eyes. Sit or lie down in a comfortable position. Close your eyes if you choose. Take a deep inhalation, pulling energy and vitality up from the ground into your pelvis and belly. And then exhale. Take another deep inhale, pulling that tingling energy into your heart. And exhale. Take a third deep inhale, pulling the energy up into your head. And as you exhale, push it up through the crown of your head. Continue breathing deeply, feeling yourself connected to below and above. You are the pillar of light, shadow, flesh, and spirit that connects the worlds. As you continue to breathe deeply, allowing yourself to relax more and more with each breath, you notice a mist creeping in around you. The mist glows a little, and it smells intoxicating. You can feel the coolness of it as it reaches your skin. This mist envelops your feet first, and then your calves and legs. You can see them through the thick swirls of fog. Your torso and arms disappear into the mist, followed by your head. For a moment, all you can see is pearly mist, and you are filled with both peace and curiosity. You stand, and the mist shifts. It sparkles and then fades, revealing a vineyard of ripe grapes. You stand within the encircling arbor, shaded from the bright sun by the verdant leaves and juicy globes of sweet fruit hanging in clusters above and around you. A gentle hum drifts through the air, and you recognize the sound of happy bees collecting nectar for their honey. The droning sound brings you peace and contentment, and you would be happy to stay in this place, watching the play of sun and shadow through the grape leaves as you listen to the lullaby of busy bees. Looking around the arbor, you see the archway that opens onto a path. To your surprise, a young woman wearing a wreath of vine, grapes, and roses is peeking at you through that archway, a giggle playing around her mouth. She beckons you before turning to walk down the path that twists through the vineyard. She glances over her shoulder to make sure you are following, and she gives you a playful wink. You follow her through the maze-like vineyard to a central area where a group of people are laughing, dancing, and drinking wine. A young man plays the double flute, while others dance inside a large earthenware vat while grasping a rope strung atop that vat for balance. Coming closer, you see their bare feet stomping grapes inside wicker baskets within the vat. A male figure approaches you. He's larger and more radiant than any human you have ever seen. Crowned in grapes and grape leaves and carrying a pine cone tipped staff, the thyrsus, you see merriment and mischief in his eyes. His voice carries both thunder and song as he bids you welcome. This is the wine harvest, he announces. It is the pinnacle of fertility, and it is steeped in pleasure. Pleasure now and pleasure to come. Aphrodite of the gardens is honored here, and she awaits you in the temple. But before you go to her, I have this message for you. You listen attentively until he has concluded. He points toward the temple with his thyrsus, and you walk the short distance to the small sanctuary. The sounds of cymbals and bells and laughter waft around the temple, and you see the colorful gowns of several dancers swirling and rippling amidst the curling smoke from the incense altars. Aphrodite herself dances in and through the assembly, her lovely laughter ringing like bells. She beckons you to join the dance, which you do. The music flows from one song into the next, and you lose track of time, caught up in the rhythms and melodies. Eventually, though, you drop onto a nearby cushion to rest and watch the timeless dancers around you. To your surprise, Aphrodite herself sits next to you. You can smell the scent of her hair and skin as she begins to speak. The establishment of my temple in what later became Rome coincided with this wine harvest, she says. Of course, my beloved son Aeneas brought reverence and love of me to the lands where he and his progeny ruled. This temple was a monument of that love and reverence. She looks deeply into your eyes and says, I bless and cherish that place you set aside for me in your life, just as I have blessed and cherished this place. And like this place, it may exist only a brief time in your mortal realm, but here it is eternal. Aphrodite leans closer to you and whispers another message just for you. Her message delivered, she rises and resumes her dance. As you rise as well, you feel an item in your pocket and remember that you had brought an offering for this temple. You hold it to your heart before entrusting it into the hands of the priestesses overseeing the incense altar. The priestess thanks you. It is time to leave this place, but you feel certain you will visit again. You know the path and are confident in your ability to return on your own whenever you wish. You turn toward the vineyard path that brought you here. You wave farewell to the celebrants as you make your way back toward the arbor where you began. You follow the gentle but firm pull back to the arbor, where a bed of grape leaves begs you to repose as mist blankets you once more. Taking deep breaths, wiggling your fingers and toes, and opening your eyes to the familiar surroundings where you began. You are now fully back. Stand, stretch, drink a glass of water. Take some time to journal about your experience and the messages that you received. And I'll see you in the next presentation.